It's time, 3:30, so please return to your seat. So from 3:30, this is the time to listen to observers, and no one has raised the hand, but we'd like to also hear from the observers, so please raise your hand. And from the audience, we'd like to also hear your comments. From the audience, if no one raised the hand, I will nominate someone. Well, Sasaki-san, would like to speak? You may be thinking whether to raise the hand or not. I think while we are hearing what Sasaki-san would like to say, it's okay. So Sasaki-san will be the first speaker, and during which, please think about your comment and raise your hand. Rather than waiting to be nominated, voluntarily raising the hand would be a better way. Sasaki-san, please. Well, to lower your hurdle to speak up. Well, everyone's dialogue is quite impressive, moving. And I have two questions. My first question, it's a question or a comment. My first question is to someone who can answer my question. Simply put, I'm from Mie Prefecture, outsider, but involved in Fukushima, and someone like myself. Fukushima has the disaster legacy, as we discussed earlier by Kimura-san mentioned, interim storage site, still and not demolished, and activities are also being made to preserve such interim storage facility. And how are you involving yourself in such activities? Because why I'm asking this is several years ago, so many things were retained, and I'm from the outsider. So building of Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, it was really shocking, such a small building, but with hydrogen explosion affecting such a broad area, wide area, designated as evacuation area. So I was quite shocked. And I personally wanted that building to be preserved as a legacy because it has a social meaning, social significance. But I was also paying attention how this would give a feeling among the local people. Some people do not want to see such a negative legacy in front of their eyes. With what they have experienced as a painful experiences, they do not want to recall. And in the area they are intending to return to, do not want to see such an object to be preserved. And actually, around 2012, Daiichi nuclear power plant to be retained and to use as the tourist assets such as dark tourism, but these kind of the topics was stalled because that was too early, too premature. But if you have a greater awareness, maybe time may be too late. And also, we have to also consider the local people's feelings. But disaster ruins to be preserved, and maybe someone like myself can make the contribution. In what manner can we make the contribution? That is my question. And my second question, well, Actually, I'd like to stop here. Just one question. Thank you very much. Regarding answer to this question, because Kimura-san's name is mentioned, so Kimura-san, can you respond? Well, it's not necessarily the fact that we want to preserve this as the negative legacy, because it's we like to preserve this as a place for future hope. And maybe outsiders may be having such a feeling, but local people, because of the emotional aspects, that is quite difficult. But because this is valuable and should be retained, and if we hear such comment from outside, that would be quite appreciative, because for us, for local community, we consider this as a negative legacy. But how can we translate them or transform this to the place of future hope? Did I answer the question?
Anyone who are based in this local area would like to answer to that question, you are welcome. Kono-san, do you have any comments to offer? I am not based in Okuma town. However, our area, Tsushima district, nursery, nursing school, and also the elementary school, junior high school, all are to be demolished. Komatsu Elementary School has a long-standing history. It had hundreds of years of history. More, so it served not only as an educational institute, but also was our kind of a community hall. Back in a Meiji era, the elementary school had a multiple roles they offered during the Meiji era. So in Okuma, I would very much like for them to preserve those buildings as well. So as for the Futaba town, there is a memorial museum related to the earthquake. If you go there, the fire engine is displayed and it is severely damaged by its tsunami, but it is displayed. And also, you could also find the transportation signage from the earthquake struck area, affected area, tsunami affected area. And initially, I wasn't sure why those displays need to be there at the museum, but I came to think that when visitors from outside come to the museum, by looking at those displays, exhibits, they could actually feel how catastrophic the disaster was. So I came to think that it's better to preserve them, and also it will continue to serve as a reminder of what had happened. So that's the shift of my mind. Thank you very much. Ishida-san, please, as well. From the high ground that you can command a good view of TEPCO nuclear power stations. I used to go up that hill to look at the first sunrise of the year before the accident. So I feel very mixed. And in Futaba town, there is a so-called marine park where a building has a triangular roof, and that triangular roof is sort of left after the earthquake or tsunami. And if you go there, you could actually have a look at the typical site as well. But if you remove all these things, 30, 40 years from now, after debris has been retrieved, then we may be able to go back there, and it may be nice to have something left there, but I'm not sure at the moment. Maybe during the time I wait for that to happen, maybe I can come to some conclusion. If there are any other people who wish to talk, please speak up. Or I can solicit for other comments. If you have any comments, please raise your hand. You are all shy. If there are French participants, everyone would raise hands. I was in France last month, so have a vivid memory of my experience there. Hi, Kanai-san, please. I live in Yamakia, and the connection between Tsushima and Yamakia was mentioned. And our like a vice director Genkatsu, who just passed away, who lived in Yamakia, and he knew everything about Yamakia, and he knew a lot about Tsushima as well. I think previously, when he had opportunity, he started talking a lot about Tsushima. And when there was an event organized in Tsushima, we and Genkatsu-san and I visited Tsushima, two of us, the community center at the Yamakia. Every first Sunday of the month, we organize a small market where we sell a local vegetables, and I would like to extend an invitation to residents of Tsushima to visit us at the market. Thank you very much. The Genkatsu-san, the former vice director of our NPO, suddenly started talking about Tsushima. That's the anecdote she shared with us. 2 years ago, when we had a dialogue, we, Sanpei-san, gave a guide to Tsushima district, and Sanpei-san would always serve as a guide, and she showed us the temple and the house. But as Sanpei-san was providing us with a guide and explanation, the Genka-san suddenly came forward and started providing his own explanation, and we suddenly had two guides in Tsushima. So I think I could tell from that anecdote that Yamakia and Tsushima had a close relationships and a lot of interactions. I think the online participants are quite quiet. I think in the last dialogue, I remember that there are quite a few hands raised. So please, online participants, please speak up. And also those who are in this venue, if you do not raise your hand, then I will just pick on you. Then can I ask Inoue Sensei to talk? Because, your white clothing attracted my attention. You don't need to talk about the topic which are relevant to dialogue. You can just offer your own comments. After the earthquake, what happened was, I think we discussed that the areas affected by tsunami after the earthquake, I think discussions were held to preserve some legacy there. But when it comes to nuclear disaster, I think Fukushima is the only area that is heavily affected by the nuclear accident. Therefore, I hope that the legacy will be preserved. The area affected by uh, tsunami, not limited to Fukushima, they preserve their legacy, but they exclude from the legacy to be preserved that the areas or anything related to deaths of the people there. So I think you need to discuss which part you preserve as a legacy, but hopefully you will find something to preserve related to the nuclear accident when it happened. I think it is necessary that within Fukushima, you will clarify what needs to be discussed. The starting point of all this is that there was someone agreed to host the nuclear power station. So that was the starting point. So today, you also need to think about how you are going to kind of come to terms with the consequence of that. So it is not really a question.
So my name is Saki. This is the first time I join, and actually, I am from Kanagawa Prefecture, Yokohama City, and I've been moving around. So when you say hometown, I was wondering where my hometown will be, and I had been living in the towns or urban areas for quite a long period of time. So from that sense, looking at things from outside, I was wondering what I can do. And I think, I'm sorry, the name, I'm sorry, maybe Takagi-san. So was saying that she wasn't very sure whether she can ask about these things to other people. So sometimes you wonder whether it is okay to ask such a question or about the timings, and then you hesitate. So that sometimes happens. So when you think about this, you had mentioned about this divide between the decommissioning and the reconstruction, but I think you are sort of putting a line in between and thinking it is different. And actually, this is done unintentionally, but today I was listening and I thought to share is to be sad together or be happy together. So if we can have such opportunities, that would be the best. But how can we do things together? And I have not, I was not able to come up with an answer. But I think the important thing is that you have such occasions, your opportunities. So I have seen the pictures of the schools, and it's really, you can really relate yourself because it's you have the same sort of experience. These elementary school students with the knapsack. So I think that is really moving, and that's a really big power. So I haven't come up with a solution yet, but I think for a person like me who didn't really have a connection with Fukushima before, what would be the things that is desired to such people? Is there anything I can do for you? Or is there anything that you would like to do together with me? That is a question that I would like to ask. Thank you very much. So, somebody, can you answer her question? You can raise your hand. Oh, yes, please. So it's very difficult, because I think some people have already mentioned, but there are so many people who are indifferent to these issues. The people here today, I think, has interest and so that's why you're here. But in most cases, in the current Japan, I think the people are not interested. So I think maybe you can talk with such people on our behalf. That may be something I would like to ask you to do. Any other proposals? Any other comments that you would like to make? No? So Kimura-san? Okay, you agree. Okay, thank you very much. So regarding other comments, Jean-Marc is here together with us. So Jean-Marc-san, yeah, can you make a comment as well? And so Jean-Marc-san, will be speaking in Japanese, so I would like to ask the interpreter to translate it consecutively. So if you can kindly stop after several sentences, please, Jean-Marc-san. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, no problem. My greatest respects for translation. Your work is really amazing. What I would like to say, this is the first time I came in Japan, and this is the first time I meet people that experienced the accident. Before that, I was experiencing meeting people in Belarus who also live similar things. And I feel the same way. I'm really impressed by your ability to recover. Please, translation.
ちょっと音声の、入りが悪いみたいなので少々お待ちください。通訳さんまだこっちに来てないです。私がなんちゃってで翻訳をしますと、今回ジャンマルクさん、日本に来られたのが全く初めてで、皆さんのお話でとても感銘を受けましたということです。で、前に、ベラルーシの被災地の方にはご訪問されたことがあったので、そちらの時に感じたのと同じように感じています。Please go on.
So this session was really heartbreaking for me because I find exactly the same questions I faced in Belarus, let's say 10 years ago.
で皆さんのお話を聞いてとても心が痛みました。でそれは10年前にベラルーシで伺ったのと同じような心の痛みです。
And my feeling is the following. You are balancing between different needs, and then these needs are opposite. For instance, okay. A very strong need is to collect memory. But an opposition, you have also to reconstruct. So these two needs are opposites because while reconstructing something, you are going to destroy something. And this is opposite to the memory you have to keep on. This is a first opposite. A second opposite is also reconstructing but preserving a cultural heritage. And these two needs, I fully understand these two needs, but they are opposites. And finally, the third point is that you are wishing to welcome migrants, but as an opposite, you also wish that former inhabitants will come again in your city, and this wish is also opposing, and all your actions, all your talk are balancing between these different needs.
戻った。お願いします、通訳さん。はい、聞こえてます。
And as a conclusion, point of view, I don't know how to help you. However, as a scientist and coordinator of Open Radiation System, I will make my best possible to strengthen the collaboration with Fukushima Dialogue. Thank you very much.
So the open radiation is actually using Fukushima University and is doing all the measurements. So if you're interested, please let us know. We can actually rent you the detector free of charge. And sometimes you have to download the apps to the smartphone. And sometimes if you can upload the results of the measurement, we'll appreciate that. And there is a question from the online participants. And Anne, actually,
Yes, can you hear me? Good. Hello there, can you hear me? Fantastic. I have a short question. Thank you. I'm very interested in the revitalization and reconstruction efforts, and I would like to know whether the communities were involved in designing the new areas and the buildings to give a sense of belonging. And if they weren't involved, why not? I'm interested to know what is still missing, and can this be reinstated now or in the future? Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask this question.
Thank you very much. So, about the plans for the reconstruction and revitalization, will the community members are engaged or not? So, if you can answer the question, please.
So whether the local people are involved in the effort, we don't think we are involved or local people are involved. Sometimes local people are interviewed, but the government is really pushing what they have decided. Kimura-san, please. Yes, same as what Kono-san said, we are not involved at all. And most of the people are living in evacuation. And it is very difficult to hear from those evacuees. But sometimes demolition is decided without the knowledge of the homeowners. That happens a lot. So given such circumstances, the facilities like this is being built before local people's knowing about that. That is actually what is happening in Okuma. In the case of Futaba Town, when public houses for reconstructions are being built, what kind of the houses are desired? Townspeople gathered together and discussed about that. For me, I wasn't able to take part, but the townspeople gathered together to decide or to discuss and express their desire. So they were able to convey to the town hall. So townspeople were invited together. So more or less, the townspeople were involved. How was in the case of you, Matsubara-san? Well, to put the conclusion, we were not involved. When I came back to Futaba Town, I wanted to be involved, but the organizations and the operations were all developed. And it was rather difficult for us to really involved. We were rather hesitant. So we were not really seeing the eye to eye. And after that, I kept outside of this loop. I'd like to also ask the questions to newcomers, the relocators. Well, as Kimura-san mentioned, we also, I also agree with him, particularly in Okuma Town, the library, the case also built without the knowledge of the local people. And I'd like to mention two things. One is that, having said that, the town halls and the town's lawmakers makes the decisions. We are also involved in a democratic process of electing the local mayor and the legislators. And where are we not involving this process? So I'd like to also see the system. So in the process of electing the legislators, at least the townspeople are electing the town's legislators. And what is the root cause of the townspeople not knowing the process very clearly? And another aspect is that who are the definition? What is the definition of the residents? Because evacuees are living in evacuation, and in this region, many people are living in evacuation. So in the next 10 years or 20 years, who are the main bodies of making the decisions? Whose opinions should be prioritized? Whose opinions should be reflected? Structurally, making such a determination is difficult to really absorb the opinions. Iijima-san, please. Yes, just one word. I agree with everyone. The backdrop is national government gives the funding, and hospitals and schools are receiving funding from prefectural government, and it is very difficult to involve the township for house demolitions. If houses are demolished, the towns can receive the funding from national government, but towns are also put in a difficult place because it is also receiving funding from the national government, and sometimes not everything can be open. So from time to time, we are invited to the discussions, but to what extent our opinions can be reflected. And the townspeople also feels that there is also certain restrictions or limitations as to what degrees our voices can be heard and reflected in the policies. And there are also intermediary position people who are also bridging between townspeople and the national or prefectural government. And under the current circumstances, it is very difficult to have the long-term vision. And also, that is also partially reason for the difficulty of making the decisions. How about you? Well, in Kawamata town, towards next year, we are trying to build 2 new facilities. And in Kawamata town, this is first case of shared offices with residential complexes, and Yamakiya, under the name of disaster preparation facility. But whether those buildings involved, the plan involved the local residents, as far as I know, for Kawamata town, we were involved, but only towards the later stage of the plan. So actually not involved in the initial phase. So it's quite challenging and difficult, but I would say my answer would be local people were not involved because we were only involved once it is decided. Well, thank you very much. All of the panel members mentioned that they were not involved, but the actual circumstances may be differ. But in almost all of the municipalities, local people were not involved. And the Anne, who asked the question, she mentioned that thank you all so much for your honest reasons. And what is the definition of the residents? We were able to understand the current situation. Well, thank you very much.